Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. NFL Week 3. Smokey is back. The Falcons won. He's back on the show. He came out of the hole he was in until last Monday, but he is back with us. How are you doing?
Oh, I am great now that I can actually be back on the show since the Falcons won, which that begs the question, am I going to start picking the Falcons from this point forward? We'll see about that. I'm not really sure, to tell you the truth, but I am better now that I'm not sick anymore. I am better than the Panthers, and I feel like the entire world is better than the Panthers right now. How are you?
Oh man, yeah, it's hard to be worse than the Panthers. I can't think of many things. Maybe as a Bay Area sports fan outside of football, you're getting pretty close. Because what looked like could be, the first quadruple crown a few years ago is now looking like the 49ers are the only show in town. A little bit, but still, I'm still probably still better than Panthers anyway. Because what's Carolina doing? The sports. No, I'm all right. Last week, of course, you were not on the show, so but we still did predictions. I got Smokey's picks. I read them out, compared them. I completely flunked the Dolphins Bills pick, obviously, against you. But tell me how the rest went. What's the results from our predictions?
Well, yeah, much like the week before, you lost that very first matchup to me, but you disagreed with two other games, and you came out on top on those. The Giants and Commanders, you picked the Commanders. Good job there. Also, the Colts and Packers. I did not think that Malik Willis could pull this game off, but somehow he did. And you had the Packers. I don't know how you saw that one coming, because as far as the rest of the football world knows or thinks, Malik Willis is one of the worst quarterbacks to ever. I mean, he's up there with Nathan Peterman, for God's sake. But somehow he pulled off the win. I don't know why you picked him, but you did, and you got the win right there.
So, I don't know how he gets into that category. Like, he's done so much less than Nathan Peterman. He's barely done anything. What did he do to offend that many people? Like, that's a bit hard.
Oh, man. He kind of redeemed himself this past week, but before that, he was absolutely seen as the worst guy to ever start a game, or at least that's playing at this point in time, but... Oh, yeah, Malik Willis, he was absolutely horrible at Tennessee, but, maybe it's a Tennessee problem, as we're seeing. Maybe it's not a Malik Willis problem. Maybe it's not a Will Levis problem. Maybe it's a Tennessee problem.
Well, Nathan Peterman's been in the NFL since, I want to say 2017, so this is his, 7th or 8th year now.
Yeah.
There's been worse, there's been first-round picks since then that did not make it up until here. But I will let you in on the secret on what told me. Exactly, Josh Rosen is a good example. I'll let you in on the secret on what told me, what gave that game away to me later when we get to the relevant teams. But of course, this week show's coming up very late. We had to move a bunch of stuff around during the week because a lot of stuff going on for me personally, so I wasn't able to find an appointment to record. We're recording this on Friday afternoon, after the Thursday night game happened. Smokey and I made the predictions to each other in private before the game happened. We both picked the Jets, and we were both very correct about that. What do you think about this game?
Oh, man. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers looks like the old Aaron Rodgers. He was pinpoint accuracy on some of those passes, especially to Allen Lazard, and the passes to the corner of the end zone, working it around defenders. That was awesome. Like, it looked like old school Aaron Rodgers. Still not as mobile as he once was, for sure, but it's to be expected coming off the injury that he has. But the Patriots. The Patriots look like they may be the worst Patriots since before Drew Bledsoe arrived to this team. You love to see it, right? Because it's the Patriots. Everybody wants to see the downfall of the Patriots. A game like that kind of puts the nail in the coffin. Yeah, these are a horrible group of Patriots, and I love to see it, man. What do you think about it?
I do. I also love to see it, obviously. I hope they have 20 years of really bad after they had 20 years of really good, and obviously the reasons for that good are now officially all gone. Only person I kind of feel bad for is Drake May, of course, as a rookie quarterback. You get thrown into this kind of situation similar to what Bryce Young went through and is going through last year. And with both of those teams I just mentioned, we already in week 2 have the first 2 quarterback replacements. That was pretty fast. Jacoby Brissett presumably is going to be making way for Drake May, the rookie, to come in. And look what Bryce Young is being benched in Carolina for Andy Dalton in 2024, almost 2025. Andy Dalton is in the NFL. Everybody, I hope you are aware of that. Jets looked good. They looked very good. I'm glad they needed a week to get into the groove against the 49ers because that was a freebie on Monday night. I would not want to play them at midseason, so I'm glad we got them in week 1. They did look good, and the Jets fans certainly very thoroughly enjoyed blowing out the rivals from Boston. But we both got that prediction right, and we have a lot of other games to get to, so let's look into what we have this Sunday evening coming up. First game, we have the Giants at the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, right off the bat, this is kind of a tough game to predict right here because both of the teams have had a little bit of success and a little bit of failure so far in this very young season. Both quarterbacks completely underperforming for what they are paid for. And both teams with potentially great offenses that are just not up to par at the moment. But one of these teams you would think has to break out on their offense at some point early in the season, hopefully. But which one is it going to be? I don't know. It's really tough to pick. Do I want to go with Daniel Jones? Do I want to go with Deshaun Watson? I'm going to say that these teams are so even right now. Browns probably have the defensive edge there, and being at home, I will stick with the Browns at home.
Yeah, I'll agree with you here. At least the Browns got the win, right? They were both in scrappy games. Browns end up getting it done against presumably what we would say is a better opposition at Jacksonville. And the Giants struggled and lost to Washington. So to me, Cleveland home field advantage. They're looking just a little bit better. Still a lot worse. We don't know if Deshaun Watson's ever coming back to the Texans Deshaun Watson that we thought he was going to be. The Browns most certainly they bought the label, but they didn't know what was going to be in it, right? They paid him a lot of money. You just can never be sure. If you have like I'm thinking of an analogy, but if you have a race car sitting in your garage untouched for 3 years, yeah, it might go and run completely fine, right? But it might not. Okay, there might be some problems after all that time. So we'll see if he's going to be able to get back into the groove, put that offense in second gear, and sort of get it running. They got the scrappy win. I think they'll continue to win, and maybe this is sort of the momentum that they need because they did not look very good offensively. But the Giants looked even worse, so I got the Browns. The Bears and the Colts.
Yeah, really, it's another tough one to pick right here because on paper, the Colts should be better. They are just a more established team of players together here. But they have underperformed so far this season and underperforming for that division, which should be a fairly easy division to get a leg up considering the other teams are also underperforming in that division. But I think the Colts overall are a better team. I think both of these teams have quarterbacks that were a little overhyped and maybe a little overdrafted when they were taken in the draft. I don't think either one of these, I know this is going to piss somebody off, but I don't think either one of these quarterbacks has a really long career coming up in the NFL of dominance year after year. I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't see it for both of these quarterbacks here. Anthony Richardson, probably even less than Caleb Williams. But as for right here, I'm going to go with the more established team, and being at home, I'll take the Colts.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more about the overdrafted quarterbacks. The thing is, it's not so controversial when it comes to Anthony Richardson. He was drafted to be sort of a boom or bust project, which I think is almost more forgivable if it doesn't work out. But Caleb Williams was drafted as this is the most surefire, safe pick of the last 5 years, right? That's what he was touted to be. Doesn't look like it. I said that's not what it was going to be. I cited character issues. I didn't cite football issues. I talked about character, locker room, off field. Man, he's getting sacked on every other play. Let's see how this develops, but I just don't have the feeling that he's got a team around him that buys into him 110% and will play at 110% for him, which all the great quarterbacks do, by the way. That's one of their biggest accomplishments, one of the best things they can do. I think the Bears might have a problem on their hands. Now, so do the Colts. They didn't look good. Got blown out, or not blown out, but lost to quite impotent Packers team without Jordan Love. So for me, this is a tough game to pick. I'll kind of just follow the default of going home team, give it to Indy. They get their first win here, but neither of these two are looking very good. I don't think either of them will have any say in the playoff picture come the second half of the season, but I'm going Indianapolis. Texans at the Vikings.
After just talking about the Texans getting that win over the Bears, I kind of got to walk it back a little bit because the Texans should have absolutely dominated that game. They should have just walked over the Bears. I know the Bears were coming off of a win, so maybe momentum had something to do with that. But I feel like the Texans, it shouldn't have been a 19-13. That should have been like a 31-13 type game. The Texans should have rolled right over them. But maybe there's a few growing pains there, and just second season with C.J. Stroud, they're getting the kinks worked out. They are 2-0, so I guess that's all that matters at this point in time. The Vikings are absolutely way better than anyone expected with Sam Darnold, except for before the season started, I said this was very possibly it might even be sixth season for Sam Darnold, but a late career breakout for this quarterback, as we've seen happen almost like once every 2 seasons. Someone does this where it's really late into their career and they've been thrown away as a backup, but then they break out somehow. And this is Sam Darnold's year, it seems, right now, and they are doing really well. I'm probably going out on a limb here because this is in Minnesota. I'm going to take the Texans. I think the Texans are a very scrappy team that can just barely edge out a win here and take it over the Vikings. Although I'm not completely confident about it, I will stick with the Texans on the road.
Yeah, fair pick. I didn't see it coming either, I have to say, for Minnesota. I didn't think they would be this good. Couldn't think of much of a better player for it to happen to than Sam Darnold, not only because it would validate my grading of him out of college 6 years after the fact, but also, of course, yeah, it's easy to root for a player, and it's a team that didn't have much expectation this year with their starter, or their rookie, I guess, J.J. McCarthy, getting hurt in preseason. He's out, but they're looking pretty good for the future. Now, when they beat the Giants, blew out the Giants in week 1, I was like, okay, yeah, it's business as usual, right? The Giants might not be very good, but then they beat the Niners, and that's something I can't ignore, right? Because I had to also watch it, and that defense of Minnesota, my God, that looks like... Do you remember back in the day when it was Mike Zimmer was there in 2017, 18? They had this ferocious zone defense. Man, they had, remember the names? Anthony Barr, what's his name? Greenwald something? I don't remember the name exactly, but...
Peterson was there too at that time, right?
That's right. That team was ferocious. I saw glimpses of that. I saw glimpses of that against the Niners. That team is good, man. They are covered. All the weapons the Niners have, people were not getting open. They were not getting. They were like 2 hands on the ball every time, not a step of separation in most cases. This Vikings defense is looking really good. I'm going to take Minnesota. I believe in them. As long as the offense can keep up. Justin Jefferson had a little bit of an injury scare. As long as he's healthy, ready to go, Sam Darnold was dealing. He was looking great. And the Vikings played incredibly disciplined defense. They keep that up, they're going to be a real team. So I will take Minnesota here against the slightly struggling Texans. Speaking of teams that are much better than we expected, you are not going to like this. The New Orleans Saints are hosting your Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, man. I got to say it. I mean, there's really no way around it. The Saints are just better than I expected them to be. I have no idea where this came from. Look at how bad they were last year. And look at where they are now with the exact same players, just older. You expect, hey, it's the exact same team pretty much. They're going to get worse. They have gotten better. Now, a lot of analysts are saying, well, it's over the offseason. They brought in this pre-snap motion specialist, whatever even that means. Pre-snap motion is something that happens in college. It's not something brand new to the game. It's not something that is just revolutionizing the game. but somehow that is maybe play action along with that. So somehow they changed this offense and made it into a juggernaut. And I don't believe it's pre-snap motion that did it, but here they are. I don't know. It's unexplainable to me. The Eagles coming off of that loss over the Falcons, which I didn't think the Eagles were as good as everyone props them up to be, because we saw the end of last season. They were on a downward spiral at the very end of the season. So I don't think the Eagles are as good as anyone wants them to be. And the Saints are, unfortunately. I'll be taking the Saints at home. But why? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, Adrian Peterson had that resurgence here. Yeah. Yeah. But one more real quick thing is, my point was, it's not something new though. Like it's been around for quite some time at this point, and yeah, it does give away the defense. But if it was that effective, then why hasn't everybody just been on that from the beginning? I don't know. It just seems like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess that little nuance just took them from worst to first. I don't know. But here we enough about the Saints, man. The Steelers and the Chargers. I just received a notification earlier today that Justin Herbert may be out for this game. I don't think they marked him out yet, but he is dealing with a high ankle sprain, which is horrible for this team, because I was going to pick the Chargers here. Steelers are not that great with Justin Fields. I don't know that they would be any better with Russell Wilson, but they are going with Justin Fields right now. He got 2 wins, so Tomlin is saying that they're going to keep Justin Fields out there until something happens, and we're going to see Justin Fields here. But if the Chargers don't have, I mean, who's behind him? Max Duggan? I don't even remember who's sitting. Did he? Whoever they start, Yeah, probably so. Whoever they start though is not going to be better than Justin Herbert, so that's a down tick for the team because the team struggles even with a superstar quarterback out there. They're a young team, then they got to get it together here. I'm going to take the Steelers. I'm going to take the fighting J.J. Watts to get this. TJ, yeah. Oh, Easton Stick, yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Wow. Look, and I am actually high on the Chargers. Also, I don't know. I didn't mean that to sound like just horrible slander or whatever. But without Justin Herbert, this team is just not as good. Like I love J.K. Dobbins. Like that was that was one of my fantasy calls too. Like no one was on J.K. Dobbins. He was basically free off the waiver wire, and I'm like, this guy's going to be the starter. Yeah, get on that. And here he is. He's going to be a superstar this year. But without Justin Herbert, like I was looking at the power rankings, they're 15th in the power rankings right now, and that's with Justin Herbert. So, yeah, and the Steelers are up at ninth. Yeah. So, but anyway, did you pick the Steelers or the Chargers? Okay. All home teams for you so far. Well, let's continue that. The Broncos and the Bucks. Another team that's way better than I thought they were going to be is the Buccaneers. Now, they have the exact same team from last year also, for the most part. And Baker Mayfield is out there playing his hero ball hard out. And it's working for him right now. I don't expect that it's just going to be like this fabulous, wonderful season for Baker Mayfield. I think it's going to crash down at some point in time. But as for right now, he's playing really well. I would even say he's playing above his head because he's known to crash and burn throughout his entire career. He does have stretches of phenomenal play for sure, but just the nature of the style of play, he will burn at some point in time. As for right now, though, Sean Payton's Broncos are absolutely horrible. I hope they don't break Bo Nix because I kind of like Bo Nix, and I hope that he can make it. But Sean Payton is known for breaking quarterback spirits, breaking player spirits in general, and that could happen right here. I'll be taking the Bucks at home. Yeah, or is it? Because I've been seeing that Jordan Love is practicing, and he may be ready to play this game. So that's a tick in the Packers' favor, absolutely for sure. If Jordan Love is out there, there's no way they do not win this game. it would take something special from the Titans, even being at home. Now, I really like Will Levis as a physical specimen and what he could be in the NFL, but he makes some dumb decisions sometimes. My God, man, these backwards passes and passes while you're falling to the ground straight into the defensive hands. I don't understand what he's thinking, and maybe the moments may be just a little too big for him at times. But he is a physical freak, and this guy could be great in the NFL if he ever gets his head right and can wrap his head around the game. But as for right now, the Packers are just an overall better team. I'll be taking the Packers on the road. You know what? If they didn't make the move to put Andy Dalton in there, this is absolutely a Raiders win, no doubt about it. It's not even close. Man, I think Bryce might be broken. I think this, maybe he can get as a backup somewhere else, get on his feet, get away from that organization because they are also known for breaking quarterbacks as well. Nothing has worked out there since Cam Newton, and another one bites the dust, as they say. On the other side, the fighting Brock Bowers is going to probably wrap this one up. It is cool to see in 2024 Gardner Minshew versus Andy Dalton. That's a pretty cool matchup, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'll stick with the Raiders. I don't know. Andy Dalton does give them a much better chance to win, but I'll stick with the momentum here and take the Raiders. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like the Dolphins are in quarterback trouble also. Again, a concussion for Tua. Man, I don't know if he just has some sort of skull issue. Well, I mean, we have to admit, Tua has been fragile his entire career, even in college. The kid has been beat up, and I kind of feel bad for him at this point. He has been demolished in his football career. He's made a lot of money, so that kind of dampens the blow a little bit, but man, he just gets hurt so much. And I don't know. He says he's not going to retire. Every time he takes a concussion, the retirement issue comes up for him because that's how badly he's been beaten up in his career. Well, Seahawks should be winning this one. So I don't believe in Skylar Thompson getting a lot done here. Seahawks with Geno, they should be in good shape to take this one at home. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have a question for you. Are you ready to change your stance on the Cardinals and Kyler Murray after the past 2 weeks? Mm. Yeah, well, man, I didn't want to admit it either, but much like the Saints, they are way better than I expected them to be. And the Lions are underachieving for what they should be right now. That makes this really tough. I think this should be a high scoring game. Jared Goff has struggled a little bit. I feel like that team is going to get it together. They have too many offensive weapons not to. They're just an extremely talented team and an extremely talented defense. And Aiden Hutchins should be able to get to Kyler Murray in this one. It's in Phoenix, so that bothers me a little bit. And I really, you know what? I'm just gonna go with my gut, even though I'm sure the odds say different. I will be picking the Lions on the road. Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, both of these teams are. I mean, the Cowboys just got blown out by the Saints. Yeah, so both of these teams are in trouble right now. These are both elite teams, or supposed to be elite teams, and they're both getting beat up at this point in time. I mean, the Ravens got beat up by the Raiders. I mean, it was a much closer game, but it was the Raiders. You don't expect that. The Ravens should have won that. And the Cowboys, like I said, got blown out by the Saints. I don't know what to make of either of these two teams right now. I can say this because of that. This is probably going to be a close game because I think they are both on the same level at this point in time. They are both teams that should be elite that are struggling at this moment in time, but they still have all of their pieces. Injury has not really devastated these two teams like it has for a lot of teams in the league already this far. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I kind of want to take the home team, but when I look at the Cowboys and say, okay, I'm going to circle the Cowboys, something tells me, no, don't do it. Don't do it. There's something wrong there. It's the Cowboys. Something's going to go wrong. I don't know. I guess I'm going to say that the Ravens get it back together this time, and I will take the Ravens to win one on the road. I can't. I can't. Oh God. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Both of these teams are absolutely hurting at this point in time. Star receivers out all over this game. Going to be a lot of backups coming in. I'm kind of wondering if Shanahan might throw Jacob Cowig out there, see what he's got. Maybe he can take the Juwan Jennings role as Juwan Jennings steps up, and I guess Brandon Ayuk will take over the Debo Samuel role. And of course, backup running backs galore. But we do have the starting quarterbacks for both teams in there. Just no superstar wide receivers outside of Brandon Ayuk. 49ers usually have the Rams number, even though it's in LA. Shouldn't be a problem here because they're both on the same level. They're both hurting. I'll take the 49ers on the road. True. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it's amazing what a established quarterback can do for the times that you get to play. Like, we're just prime time all over the place now. Last year, every single game was at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Every game. Yeah, yeah. Now we get all these primetime games. And it just so happens we're going up against some of the best teams in the league in these primetime games. Well, I guess the Eagles are maybe not so elite anymore, but the Chiefs absolutely are. I'll tell you though, Patrick Mahomes, I don't know that he's the number one quarterback in the league anymore. I think Josh Allen may just have that title at this point. I know he's got to beat him in head-to-head competition. At some point, the Bills have to win one of these championships and go to a Super Bowl to actually be in the running. But as for play, game for game, Josh Allen is better than Patrick Mahomes at this point in time. Weapons be damned, because neither one of them have superstar wide receivers out there. But the Falcons, man, I want to pick them because that's my team. But if I pick them, they're going to lose. They're absolutely going to lose. Now, it's the Chiefs, so they're probably going to lose either way, even being at home. But this should be a really good game. Should come down right to the end. Should be some refs interference here that's going to lean this game toward the Chiefs. That's why I will take the Chiefs on the road. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It feels like every year they give Josh Allen less weapons to work with, and yet somehow every year he just gets better. It makes no sense. People didn't even pencil the Bills in for the playoffs now that they've lost all their weapons except for Josh Allen. But here they are. They're still killing teams. Yeah. I don't know. Josh Allen is just special. He's just that kind of quarterback, and he needs to get some of those wins over the Chiefs to keep his name in the history books as one of the greats. But I think it'll happen if we keep going at this rate. I just don't understand why the Bills are this good. On the other side, the Jags are way worse than anyone expected them to be. I almost picked them for my post-hype sleepers this year, and I'm glad I didn't, because this is just not working out for them. And they lose this game, which they probably will, they're going to be 0-3 to start the season, and it's going to look like another 2021 season out there. Yeesh, that might be a Doug Peterson firing by the end of the season if that happens. Yep, but right now I'm taking the Bills at home. Yeah, and how did this end up being the Monday night game? I don't understand that one. I mean, yeah, you got Joe Burrow out there. What did the Commanders have to offer for prime time? They're a really young team that with a quarterback who's only on his third game. I don't get it, but here they are. They put him in this slot for some reason. Yeah, I can't think of any other reason why we would do that. But Joe Burrow's out there. Jamar Chase is out there. I'm not worried about the Bengals. They do this every single year, and yet they are still good. At least halfway through the season, you'll look at them and say, oh, yeah, one of the top probably 8 teams in the entire league. They start off 0-2 every single season. There's nothing to be worried about. That's just what this team does. They'll get into a rhythm. They almost did it last week against the Chiefs, against the best team in the league. So you can see it coming around. They're going to start winning. It's probably going to start right here in prime time. They'll get a big win here, taking the Bengals at home. I believe it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks weird on paper. Yeah. Ooh, shooting from the hip. Josh Allen's absolutely number one. I debate if no particular order though. I'm just going to give you 5. I'm debating if I want to I don't know. I guess you got to put Patrick Mahomes in there, but he is not playing at his best right now. You got to put C.J. Stroud in there because they're winning. Like they're doing the job. They're winning. And there's a name that I'm avoiding right now, and I know you know who it is, because I just don't want to say it. But Derek Carr, huh? Yeah. Well, I don't understand it, man. But yeah, I guess he's in there. Tell you the truth, Jordan Love would be in that list if he hadn't got injured. If he would have played last week, he would absolutely be there right alongside these guys. And if there's anybody else, it's a fight between Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, the old Oklahoma duo right there, if they're making their way in there or not. And yeah, I mean, do you think Purdy belongs in there yet, or do you think we need more out of him?
Purdy belongs in there yet. Like the statistics just aren't there. Like very average numbers. He's top 10 in passer rating, right? But so far they've relied on the run a lot, and the passing game hasn't worked quite as well. So I'm not going to be that much of a homerization in front of it right now. No, of course Derek Carr has to be at number one.
Mm.
Anybody's
Yes.
the way he's been playing, the statistics, the eye test, everything. I mean, he's on track for the greatest season in NFL history for a quarterback if he were to play the rest of the season like he did those first 2 weeks. Now, that's a statistical anomaly, you might say, and that's probably true. But my power rankings are only based on this. Doesn't matter what the name of the player is. Power rankings are only based on who's been the best player in the past 2 weeks, because we know how it works in the NFL and sports in general. What happened before this week or the season, in some cases, it doesn't matter. It might as well not have happened. Only thing that matters is what's going on now. And I don't care what things this regard. So Derek Carr, number one up there. I'm putting Josh Allen sort of next, and then there's a couple of names that we mentioned, like Baker Mayfield, Aaron Rodgers, really good. I'll throw Sam Darnold in there. Why not? For the Vikings, right? He's been playing
Yeah.
very well. So if I had to make a top five, that would be my top five. I'm okay with we can discuss like Sam Darnold versus CJ Stroud. I'm okay with that. I'm excluding Kyler Murray for now.
Yeah.
Those are my 5 or 6 candidates. And also, you gotta mention Jaden Daniels, right? They haven't thrown the ball a whole lot.
No.
Okay.
Didn't he?
Okay, maybe not for the MVP. Maybe not for the best rookie quarterback. I gotta have one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's great run game, of course. Yeah, he hasn't thrown much. He hasn't been bad passing at all, but he hasn't done much. So, he's not gonna win pocket passer of the year, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, he's playing well. Definitely the best of the rookies so far. Mm-hmm.
So that's my list, I guess. Have it. We'll see how it develops over the weeks, and we'll see how yours develops as well.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Josh Allen for now.
Did you say Josh Allen? Like if
Yeah.
you're going today, I mean, you're picking Josh Allen, but that's only because Derek Carr plays.
Yeah.
If I gave like Pfizer could fold over cards and just set the player stats and maybe the team's record, Carr's unanimous.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're going with that, but that is absolutely unsustainable. Like, no one's ever pulled off anything close to that. But yeah, for 2 games, yeah, I see it. Yeah, he's all right.
Eagles come down this week. Let's see if he can keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
Something to that.
Yeah.
Those are our picks for this week. Let us know what you think about it. Starting next week, we'll be back in our usual setup. We'll have the cameras on. We'll have better production quality again, finally. As the road trip is over for me, I'll be able to have a better discussion and better quality once again. Go into week 4. But those are our picks. Let us know what you think. Let us know your MVP flop numbers right now. Smokey, do you have anything to add for this week?
No, that's it for this week.
We will see you in the next one.
Doses.
Really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard.